So I released a behind the scenes video, like a making of my April Fool's Hot Ones video, but obviously that's not traditionally what kind of videos I make. And looking at the time here, it's FNaF News O'Clock. So I figured, let me do an actual behind the scenes video. How do I make my FNaF News videos? The entire process. Literally, I haven't started any work on this video to literally publishing it, hopefully tomorrow. So step one is actually make sure your camera looks good, it's in focus, you got good lighting there. So as you can see, it's been, almost 2 weeks, a week and a half since the last FNaF News video. I try to release them weekly. Doesn't always work out. Sometimes it's 2 weeks, but either way, I try to keep it relatively consistent. So we're coming up. We've gotten quite a bit of news since this video, so it's time to lock in and make a new FNaF News video. So the first thing I need to do, very simply, is figure out when I uploaded that video. So we can see cancelled. Oh my god, the FNaF game cancelled, guys. July 21st. So now I know. Alright. I've covered everything up until July 21st. Head on over to my trusty source of FNaF News here. We're just going to scroll until we get to July 21st. Sorry, I got distracted. Yeah, the trailer for the new movie was a big thing, so I've already done videos covering all that, so I don't need to worry about this, but it is going to... Hi, DJ. It's going to take a little bit to get there, just because there was a lot of movie news. July 17th, July 18th. Yeah, I remember talking about these plushies. I remember talking about all this, so we are going to head up to July 22nd here. We're just going to copy and paste every single link here. And then I bring you to my handy dandy little Google document here, which contains all of my FNaF news. As you can see, I still got to do a big fanverse news video. It's just all that news is piling on. So we're just going to grab the Jazzwares plushies here, Jazzwares plush. We're going to copy and paste that link there. And boom, there we go. We're just going to do that for all the tweets leading up to today. There we go. Big old list of everything. Sometimes I have like leftover news that I'll recycle. I'll put on hold and be like, if I don't have a FNaF news video that's like, could use a bit more extra stuff, sometimes I'll throw it in. So I'm still waiting to include Mark's, FNaF Choose Your Own Adventure somewhere. This is already looking like a very long FNaF news video. So Mark might have to wait until yet another FNaF News video. But obviously, this is very cluttered. So once I have everything listed, I've reorganized it a bit. I grouped like all the YouTube stuff together, all of the Jazzwares stuff, all the Halloween Horror Night stuff. So I'll go through, I'm just gonna, sort them all together. So this is about what I'd go for. I also sorted them based on how I think I will format the video. Typically, I like to have like posts from Steel Wool or other companies at the top, followed by book news, going into merchandise, and then ending off with like game news or movie news, or in this case, Halloween Horror Night, attraction news. Whatever is going to be like the big main clickable thing in the video, the title, thumbnail, I usually have at the end, so people stick around to the end, So now that we have our list done, we are pretty much ready to start recording. What I do is I record, I click on every link, it takes me to the tweet, as look, we got a new post, new art from Steelwool, look at how cute Roxanne looks, and that's what I'll say. So, let me go record. Recording went well. It clocked out to just a little under 25 minutes, which honestly is like 10 minutes under what I usually record for. I usually record like 30 to 35 minutes, so I guess I really just locked in for this one. I did kind of notice that I was kind of going by the topics pretty quickly, which honestly is kind of a downside about these FNaF News videos. I kind of want to make them longer. Like, go into more detail about what's going on, give my opinions on things more, like actually talk about them, instead of just being like, alright, here's some Funko Pops. What do you think in the comments down below? Let me know. I feel like I found the sweet spot, though, because a lot of my FNaF News videos nowadays get to like 15 minutes, though. Typically, my finished video will be a third of the length of the total time I recorded for, so this should be about like maybe 9 minutes, I don't know. But eventually, I wonder if I want to make them a bit longer, talk about topics a bit more instead of just being like, all right, here, what's going on? Let's move on. So just something I've been thinking of. Anyway, so my next step is just to see what I can cut out. Very plainly, as you can see, I've got my timeline here. So what I usually do is I just do a little rough cut. I chop out all of the empty space here, and so it's just my voices, and I do that for the entire like 25 minutes. And then once I have it chopped up so it's just my dialogue, no empty space, no mistakes with what I'm saying, me losing my train of thought, whatever, that's when I move on to like putting in photos and videos and overlaying stuff. So yeah, planned out video, done. Record video, done. Now it's time to edit. Let's do it, baby. All right, I've cut everything up so it is just me talking. I usually give it one big listen just to make sure that I truly did get everything And looks like the final runtime is going to be just over 12 minutes, which is actually a lot longer than I was expecting. I think I said like 8 to 9. So 12 is pretty good. I guess I really just did lock in for this one. Because I usually have to cut out, I usually record, the raw recording is so much longer, and then I usually have to cut out so much more, but this one looks like I used like half of the actual raw footage, so I usually mess up a lot during recording, which is why I'm terrified to get an actual editor, because I stumble over my words so much, I lose my train of thought all the time, I have to research things as I'm recording, and I don't stop the recording, I just do it while I'm recording, so... Looks like I locked in for this one, which is pretty good. Oh, also I'm using DaVinci Resolve. I don't know if people really care about that, but... Oh, God. I'm sorry, I recommended you DaVinci Resolve. I think it's specifically DaVinci Resolve 16 that I use. I know there's later versions. Is it still lagging my camera? Sorry. Actually, it's probably doing that because I'm about to crap on it. One time it, like, automatically updated to, like, 17 or something, and they had changed a bunch of, like, shortcuts or keybinds or whatever, and I haven't moved past 16, so... DaVinci Resolve 16 is, like, specifically what I use. If you're looking for editing software, it's free. Apparently, it kills you if you talk shit on it for, like, a single second. It's just gonna kill you. But so the next step now is to actually go through and add a whole bunch of stuff. This is obviously not exactly what I'm gonna be using, but just to give you a bit of reference, is to go through and add all the videos and the photos to actually make sure there's stuff on the screen and you can see the news that I'm talking about. Why is this not going up and down? DaVinci Resolve, God, you are so annoying. And it's still killing my camera. All right, maybe don't use DaVinci Resolve. All right, so after a couple hours of pretty much just putting in clips, putting in images, I usually listen to like a podcast or a live stream in the background just because I need that constant stimulation for my brain. I can't just listen to myself talk for hours on end. This is the full timeline. I just rendered out the video. It is almost 11 p.m., so this did take a couple hours. I can't remember exactly when I started, but it usually takes like 3 hours, maybe, I don't know. It really shouldn't take that long. I really should just have all the clips already on my computer, but I don't do that for some reason. It'd be very helpful, but, you know, one of the reasons why the editing process takes so long is I have to always go back and get the clips and the images and the videos again, so that's kind of where the majority of the time goes when it comes to editing. Other than that, it's kind of chill. It's just kind of tedious putting in various clips and photos, which is why it's probably my least favorite part of the video making process, is that it's just kind of boring. But also, it is quite relieving because that means the video is done and we can upload it to the tube. I do actually usually upload my videos now overnight, so they are rendering and copyright checking overnight, just in case YouTube systems catch anything, especially because a lot of my videos nowadays feature stuff like movie clips or movie trailers with the FNaF movie, so I never usually get flagged for that kind of stuff. Universal's pretty chill with people using, you know, the trailers at least, not quite movie clips, but the trailers I've been flagged like maybe twice for throughout, you know, all these years of covering the films. But you never know. Sometimes YouTube's system is weird. Sometimes it catches things. Oh, wait, actually, let's see. So sometimes I'll get AI-generated titles, so let's review them, actually. This is kind of fun. New FNaF toys in Haunted House revealed. Honestly, not that bad. You won't believe these FNaF 2025 surprises. FNaF Haunted House and toys are here. Big FNaF news just dropped. What's coming next? I mean, they're fine. That's the problem with, like, these AI titles. It's like, yeah, they're fine. I don't really want to use them, though. I have my own flair that I use. Actually, one of, like, the stupidest things YouTube has implemented is this new inspiration tab, which gives you AI-generated video ideas and, like, titles and thumbnails. I never check this, but I kind of want to see what they have here. I couldn't even create a thumbnail. FNaF 2 movie, unpacking Mike's Afton's fate. Honestly, not a bad idea. I did want to do a video talking about Freddie Carter's character, because I saw 3C Films did like a section of a stream covering that. Exploring the lore of FNaF AR animatronics, kind of a dead topic now. Also, none of those guys are FNaF AR. Also, Chica has 2 sets of arms right there. FNaF 2 movie, examining Abby's age description. No! What? Why? Why Freddy Fazbear's is not coming to Halloween Horror Nights 2025. I just made a video stating that it is, because it is the absolute worst FNaF fan-made merch ever. Dude, it's so stupid. I have no idea why YouTube did this. So while the video uploads, now I move on to the thumbnail making process. I use GIMP. It's all right. Much like DaVinci Resolve, it's free. You know, I've been using it for years. Actually, I should mention, DaVinci crashed twice while I was editing that video. It never usually crashes for me, but this video it did crash twice. But GIMP, honestly, has never served me wrong. So this was the previous Halloween Horror Nights thumbnail that I used, and honestly, I think it's pretty good. Freddy there, big front and center. You got the Halloween Horror Nights sign. First details, I always go for that classic like white and red text there. I kind of moved away from like the 3C Films, you know, segmented thumbnails just because honestly they were getting very cluttered. You know, I would look at like the main page of my channel and it's like, wow, there is so much going on. So, you know, the past couple months with FNaF news, I try to focus the thumbnail on one big topic, which is usually good because I think that it honestly has resulted in better looking thumbnails. But it also does kind of suck because sometimes there is multiple things in one FNaF news video that I want to cover. For example, this one, you know, I'm going to have the main appeal be the Halloween Horror Nights thing again, but also like we got the new Jazzware stuff revealed. We had a few new like YouTube's plushies, which I think could look good in thumbnails. The Funko Puffs for Help Wanted 2. So it's like sometimes I have the urge to go back to those segmented thumbnails, but visually I just think the more focused ones look better. But honestly, going into this thumbnail, I don't really have a plan because for the new Halloween Horror Nights stuff, they didn't really reveal any like good new content. It's really just the FNaF 1 poster, but it's like tinted purple, and then that announcement video we got was an absolute nothing burger. So maybe for old time's sake, I could do a segmented thumbnail, and I could also do YouTube as a feature where you can test thumbnails and like see which one does better. I used it when it like first came out, but I don't really use that anymore just because I'm usually just pretty happy with the thumbnail that I make, and I'm like, I don't really need to test a second thumbnail. It's kind of funny that I'm going into a thumbnail with no idea what to make right now, but we'll see what I come up with. I really like the layout of this. Having Freddy and then like the sign in the background and then some text here. I really like that layout. Looking at some haunted houses, I was like, oh, maybe I could have like the sign on like a building, but then I saw this, which is from like an old ad, the big entranceway here, and there's like a split second, there's no text. So I think I'm gonna take this, I'm gonna throw the FNaF sign up there. Near this big empty space, I can have like Halloween Horror Nights text. I think that's my plan. We're gonna see how it goes. Okay, I don't think this is going to work. It's not going as smoothly as I was hoping. I got the cutouts of these guys, you know, they're up on the wikis. I'm just gonna take them. The problem is that these characters are so heavily tinted is that they clash so much when they go from light purple to the dark of the background. So I don't know, I might have to find a different way to go about this. Maybe I do just have one character in it and not all four. Okay, I've got this, which I actually really like. I know I sounded a little like, oh, I got this, I don't know what I made. It's just not what I was expecting to make, but honestly, I kind of love it. So at first I tried, and this is gonna be a like weird time-lapse thing, but I don't know, I kept it all on one file, so you're gonna see the whole like thought process. So yeah, originally I was like, all right, let's use like the posters and let's have this big archway in the background. It really wasn't lining up. I think I told you that. I originally wanted to incorporate the ball pit then and have like text in here, but I was like, no, these guys are way too small. So I like quickly moved on from that. At first I tried throwing in this picture of Freddy because it looked good. But I thought that was like kind of too close to my original thumbnail, so then I was like, all right, let me try to get these guys like in front of the pizzeria. That didn't really work out. I tried figuring out what I was gonna do with this text for a little bit. I was like, all right, yeah, I like the backdrop idea, the shadow. Let's try to get Mike in here. Because in the description of the haunted house, it's like park goers like follow in the footsteps of Mike. I was like, all right, Mike, very recognizable face. Let me try to get like a human face in there. So I started cutting out Josh. At this point, I didn't really know where I was going to have him, but I was just like, let me cut him out. Let's see where we go. I grabbed a different, more like forward-facing view of the archway. I tried putting on just the FNaF logo. It looked a little bit weird. So I was like, all right, let's just go back to the sign, tilt it a little bit, turn up that saturation, erase that background. Let's get Josh in there. Let's see where he goes. Try to add some aesthetic with the background, with the moon, some lightning. Didn't end up going with the lightning. Let's get that Halloween text back in there. And this is when it like really starts to come together. And, you know, you get the composition of big eye-catching thing on the right, and then a whole bunch of smaller details that kind of fill in and blend in with the background. You know, I'm not a master thumbnail maker, but I think I do a pretty good job with what it's worth. So you can see me kind of like messing around with these guys, messing around with their saturation, messing around with Josh's saturation. He gets a bit too bright in the face, so we turn that down on his face, but keep it on his body, bring in a shadow on the edges just to kind of like smooth it out. And that's a thumbnail. Again, not what I thought I would make. I really, really like the look of it, though. I would have loved to include something, like, actually from the official announcements and promotional material. Like, I toyed around with the idea of using, like, the design of the shirt. So at one point, I was like, literally, let me just see if I can have, like, this by itself as the thumbnail. But then I was like, nah, that's just... it doesn't look good. There's not a clear enough shot of it. So let me make my own thing. And, I think it did a pretty good job. So now that we have the thumbnail, usually it gives me a better idea of what I want the title to be. This is the title of the previous Halloween Horror Nights video, and honestly, it's frustrating because this is pretty much exactly what we talk about here again. Might go something like that. Haunted house first look. Usually like details and first looks are two phrases that I cycle through a lot. Yeah, first look. It's a little clickbaity because we don't, like, actually see anything of it, but I think people will still understand. Plus it, you know, you get the word haunted house in there. People are like, oh, it's confirmed haunted house. I don't know. I might get a bit of pushback because it says first look, but honestly, that's just, like, some of the risks you have to take with being a YouTuber sometimes. Hey, don't get mad at me. I'm just playing the game. Descriptions, I don't really bother too much with. I usually just copy and paste what I had the last time and then change it up a little bit. So we'll do FNaF Halloween Horror Nights Haunted House first look revealed. And then I usually link like some of my most recent, like, past 3 videos. So I have like FNaF 2 movie trailer breakdown and probably like FNaF delay. End screens, I also just like copy and paste best video, most recent video. Cards, we'll pick, like, kind of 2/3 of the way in. We'll pick a recent video. We'll do trailer reaction. Towards the end of the video, we'll do another one. Let's do canceled. That's going to be good. Good word popping up there. That video actually did a lot better than I was expecting. All these tags here, I've been recycling forever, and it's gotten me good results so far, so no reason to change it. Throw in Five Nights at Freddy's there. Sometimes I flip-flop between FNaF and Security Breach, because Security Breach has really good, still performs incredibly well on YouTube, even so many years after its release. And then, quite frankly, guys, that is my entire process of uploading a video. I'll go through, usually for a FNaF news video, and I'll do the timestamps. And then as I check these timestamps here, this is also just another rewatch of the video just to make sure everything looks good, no editing mistakes. Sometimes if the editing mistakes aren't too terrible, sometimes I leave them in. I did catch one thing while editing. I'm talking about plushies and I say figures. You know, like small slip-ups like that don't really matter. Plus, sometimes you want mistakes like that, because then people will comment, Lamau, bro said figures instead of plushies at 9 minutes 30, and then more comments like that boost it in the algorithm, get more views, more attention. I try not to make mistakes like that, but sometimes things just slip up. All right, just rewatch the video. It is all good. Put in the timestamps, and it's all set. I'll be posting it tomorrow. I don't really have any fancy way of posting it. I just hit publish because everything's all set to go. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this little behind the scenes on how I make my FNaF news video. It really isn't all that interesting, but maybe some people are going to get a kick out of it. Thanks for watching. It is now almost 1 a.m., so I'm going to go to bed. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you all on the flip side. Goodbye.